Hello, everybody. Nick Tero, Professor of Information Technologies and Computer Science, Lakeland Community College. If you're watching this video, it is because you're probably taking a course that is using NDG NetLab, a virtual environment we use to deliver course content. And I've made this comment many, many times in the past, and that is if you just sit down and do the lab, you probably can get it done in about 10 to 15 minutes. But you're not going to accomplish anything. You'll accomplish the lab, you'll get your screenshots, you'll submit your thing, but you're not going to accomplish anything, meaning that you're not going to learn anything. I strongly, strongly encourage you to deep dive into the commands that are presented to you while you have access to the NDG server, while you can do these labs, after you've completed the labs, or actually during the process of completing labs. Take some deep dive into some of these commands that you may otherwise not see. Just completing the lab, yes, you're going to get done 10, 15 minutes. But if you're trying to accomplish a deeper understanding of the material provided, sometimes a simple command, you can deep dive into it and find some very, very interesting things with that. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of these programs. Crunch is another tool that we have in Kali Linux that allows us to generate very large word lists. Now, other tools, for example, CEWL, we basically gather words from different websites or different IP addresses. But with Crunch, what it does is it basically randomly generates a series of words, and we give it given parameters. Now, in today's day and age, a lot of the password vaults that we might have on a phone or something like that will randomly generate passwords for us that are very confusing and cryptic and things like that. And more people are using it. I personally use a password vault, and many times I will request a password, and it's, sometimes 12, 14 characters in length and special characters. It has no words in it. How do we generate word list that could be associated with just randomly generated passwords? And Crunch gives us that ability. So let's take a look at my system. And let me clear the screen here. Sorry about that. And again, I'm using one of the labs from the NDG server, and we talk about Crunch. And basically, Crunch allows us to create random words. So let's go straight from the lab here. And if I say Crunch, and if I say 4.8, now let's break this down a little bit. 4.8 just means that we are going to be creating, randomly creating passwords or pass phrases that are greater than or equal to 4, but less than or equal to 8. Obviously, we can crank that up. We can say 8 to 12 or whatever we think is relevant. Now, if I keep on typing here straight from the lab, we have to begin to ask ourselves the question is, what is this? Now, we can give Crunch a series of parameters to use. Use upper and lower, use lowercase only, use uppercase only, use letters, use what do you call it? Numbers. We can give it a wide variety. If I want to keep it down to maybe a certain area of words, I can tell it right off. I can say, okay, use 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and use A, B, C, D, E, and F. And what this will do is it'll just randomly generate that list of words, 4 to 8 characters. Well, let's run it. It's still taking a lot, and there it goes. It's basically, we're not going to run through the whole thing because it's going to take a long time, but there it goes. It went through 4 and then 5 and eventually get to 6 and 8, etc. And you'll notice that it's within that parameters that I gave it. Gave it all the numbers 0 through 9, and then I said A through F. And if I just break out of here, give it a second to break out, and clear. So if I go back up and I say, again, from the 4.8, there's our range of size, and I say character set dot list, and I say alpha. What this is saying is that Crunch has a character set built into it that I can use. But in this particular case, I would only want to use what the L alpha means, the lowercase associated with it. So if I swing this back over here, you can see what are available character sets that are built into Crunch. Lowercase only, uppercase only, mixture of lower and case, numbers, symbols, 14 top symbols, or all. Here's a bunch of character sets. Let's take a real quick look at the character set of character set list. And all I have to do is if I say cat user share under the Crunch directory character set, spell it right. Here's a little shorthand of the different character sets that Crunch will use. So in this particular command that we see over here, it's basically saying generate pretty much everything, but keep it as lowercase. So let's clear the screen. And we're going to say Crunch again, 4.8 character set dot list, and keep it lowercase. And we're not going to put it to a file, -O, and give it a file name, but let's see what the screen, it'll come out to the screen. And you can see it's going to create a pretty big file, right? It's going to create a 409 megabyte file, and it's just in there, and it is randomly creating these, I can't even call them words, just strings of characters. Remember, as users get more and more sophisticated, which is a good thing, they're going to rely more and more upon vaults. So when we create these dictionary files that we're going to maybe use for John the Ripper or Hashcat or some other tool that does a brute force attack against a name, we have to become much, much more creative. We just can't have a dictionary of words. We have to have these random sets. So Crunch, let me break out of here. Take a second for it to. Crunch basically affords us the ability to randomly generate passwords that we would use inside a dictionary attack. So with that being said, let's go out and learn something.